everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer. The DRF race of the day for Friday, July the 28th is race number 10 at Saratoga. It's the Grade 2 Amsterdam. 3-year-olds going 6.5 furlongs. Let's take a look at this field. Please scan or click the QR code for Race of the Day access on mobile, which includes free Formulator Pass performances. The Amsterdam is important because it's the local prep for the 8 Challenge Jerkins, which is widely considered the signature race for the entire year for the 3-year-old dirt sprint division.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of these horses are hoping to make their way into that race. I guess led by your morning line favorite, Dan, Drew's Gold. He finally got beat in his most recent start, but he ran really well that day.
He ran super well that day to the tune of a 106 Beyer speed figure. He just ran into a red-hot horse in Arabian Lion. We throw up the Timeform US pace projector. Our friends at Timeform US believe that Drew's Gold can be forwardly placed from the inside post, and if he breaks, which has been a little bit of an issue for him throughout his career, he will be. Rivet is perfect with blinkers, 5 for 5 since Steve Asmussen outfitted him with the Rogues badge, so to speak. I think they got to send him.
Yeah, they got to get aggressive with Rivet in this race. He's in really good form right now, and he's got plenty of early speed. The key to this pace, though, Dan, is the 6 New York Thunder, who has never run on dirt before in his career. It's only 3 starts. This horse is pretty fast, though. I don't think it would be shocking if he was on ascend here.
If there is a speed duel among the 1, the 5, and the 6, things could work out well for the 4 Gilmore. You'll note the LP flag over his chiclet, which indicates he has the best last late pace figure from Timeform US. Let's watch Drew's Gold's only loss. This is the Grade 1 Woody Stevens. He began his career with 4 consecutive wins. He took some money in this race, Mike. He broke from the far outside post. He got right up close to the pace. He's going to make the lead in the stretch. And again, Arabian Lion is a razor-sharp horse right now. He got the better of Drew's Gold late.
He runs well in this race, Drew's Gold. He got a great trip. I don't think you can complain about that, Dan. He sat right up close. He took over. And, unfortunately for him, he's just, really no match for this Baffert horse, Arabian Lion. Good second best in there. Another step in the right direction for him. The 106 Beyer, I think it's pretty clear if he runs that race back against this field, he's supposed to be really tough to beat, and he's not supposed to be compromised by pace in here.
Jose Ortiz takes the mount for James Chapman. The 2 is Joey Freshwater going out for Linda Rice, who's been winning everything in New York for the last 6 months or so. Blinkers on for Joey Freshwater, who got wired in a slow-paced race earlier in the Saratoga meet, but that was an off-turf heat. Going to be facing tougher rivals here. On his best day, he can compete with these horses. He just needs a little bit of a Beyer boost. Some of these others have moved forward in recent months.
Yeah, he's just going to have to run the race of his life, I think, if he's going to win here, Dan. It's another tough spot for him. Yeah, I don't think I would be too hard on him for that most recent start there. He was only second best that day. The issue with him is he's run against Drew's Gold twice in the past. It was really no contest in either of those races. And since Drew's Gold handled him in the Gold Fever, Linda Rice is just trying everything else to get this horse, back to the winner's circuit. She tried turf. She tried to stretch him out. She tried to drop him all the way back last time and entered a main track only. None of it's really worked out, Dan. And based on the races he's run so far, he's in very, very tough here.
The number 3 is Deer District, a horse that's hit the board in his last 7 starts, and he really put it together from a Beyer standpoint last time out. It was a first-level allowance at Churchill Downs, and he sat off the pace, came with a strong run, and then dominated the field in the stretch. 97 Beyer speed figure. It looks like he's getting good at the right time, but he's coming into this race off a 2-month freshening.
He was very impressive winning that most recent start. It'll be interesting to me, Dan, to see if he can, sort of make that effort stand up, because it was a big step forward for him. And when I watched it back, I don't know if you'll agree with this or not, it was almost one of those moves that he made off the turn there as that field came into the stretch, where it was like maybe he just wasn't in against that good of a field, because he took over and nobody really fought him for it. And then he just ran away through the stretch. I don't really want to knock him too hard, because I thought his 2 races prior to that were both really good as well against really good fields. So I do think this horse is pretty good. And if he can run another 97 in here, he could be right there.
The number 4, Gilmore, is a sleeper in this race for trainer Brendan Walsh. Leading jockey Irad Ortiz takes them out. He's been very consistent without winning. 2nd in the Bayshore, 3rd in the Pat Day Mile. We just saw him finish 3rd in the Woody Stevens, finishing directly behind Drew's Gold. A fast pace works to his advantage. This horse is going to be closing in the stretch.
Yeah, I think there is a chance that this pace gets to be a little bit fast anyway, Dan. We'll see how it all plays out. I thought he ran pretty well last time in the Woody Stevens. And that being said, though, I didn't really feel like he had, some kind of an excuse in there, Dan. I thought he ran his race. I don't think he ran quite as well as Drew's Gold did, although he was making up ground on that horse at the end of that race. I sort of looked at him as a horse who maybe needed to improve one more time in this race, but I don't think I'd be shocked if it happened.
Rivet is the number 5, and as we mentioned earlier, he feels very handsome in blinkers. He's a perfect 5 for 5 since they've been added to the arsenal, and I still think people are questioning how good he is. He won the Bachelor 3 starts back over a muddy track. Maybe it wasn't the strongest field in the world. When he won the Chick Lang, the odds-on favorite unfortunately broke down, so maybe we didn't get a true indication of Rivet's ability there. Last time out on the Maxfield, they caught a sloppy track, and he just went right to the lead. He set a relaxed pace. He sprinted on home. He's a very professional, likable sort, and 3-1 on the morning line is fair.
I think it's fair too. And I think your point's well taken though, Dan. I mean, even though he brings this winning streak into this race, I think there are at least some ways to question the 2 most recent starts. You mentioned that the favorite went wrong in the Chick Lang, and it just sort of left this horse on the lead by himself. In that most recent start, it was a good performance, but man, having speed over that Ellis Park track has been, what it's all about. Or at least it felt like that's what it was all about all summer long, and he was just loose. I still like the way that he finished that race off, though. To me, this horse, he's just good, because even the prior wins that weren't quite as fast, he did some really, really good things in those races. I think this horse is talented and maybe a little underrated still.
New York Thunder, the number 6, is unbeaten from 3 starts for trainer Mark Casse. We're going to watch his most recent effort. This is the Woodstock back in April, his first start of 2023. It was not a very strong field. Go into your formulator past performances, click on the next race tab. You'll see that some of these horses have come back and they haven't done very well. New York Thunder ran very well in this race. He went right to the front, set a rated opening quarter of 22-3, and is on his way. Now remember, he was entered in the Woody Stevens, was listed as a vet scratch, so he's coming in here off a layoff, and he's got to prove himself on dirt.
Yeah, he does. There's a lot working against him here. And what you're saying about that most recent start, I think does ring true, that maybe it just wasn't that good a field. I didn't really want to quibble with it too much, Dan, because to me, this horse was super impressive winning that race. And I thought he was super impressive when he won first time as well over the Alder. I don't know if he's a dirt horse, but he does have a dirt pedigree. And I do think he's talented, and he has speed from the outside. I'll tell you what, I flirted with putting him on top in this race. I also flirted with picking him in the Woody Stevens before he scratched. I think this horse is good. I just ultimately couldn't talk myself into him once again.
Well, before we get to our top selections, please click the subscribe button on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel for the latest DRF videos. Top pick time for the Amsterdam. There's some gaudy Beyer speed figures running around. The figure makers must have had a whale of a time with Rivet's last race, because the rain came the second half of the card. It's hard to come up with a figure there. I'm sure they had to split the variant. Rivet looked good that day. He's going to get either to the front or just off the lead, and I think he can make it 6 in a row for Steve.
I think it can too. I feel like they just have to get aggressive with him from the gate here, Dan, and look to make the lead in here. If that 6 to his outside shows speed, maybe Santana will have a decision to make there. But I think this horse should be going. To me, he's a very fair price on the morning line. I really like this spot for him.
The good news is, if there is a little bit of chaos up front, he has shown the ability to sit and pass horses from off the pace. We're both going to go with Rivet in the Grade 2 Amsterdam. 5136 for Mike, 5143 for me. Best of luck.